I hope you all are very healthy and staying safe at home. So, travel is something which everybody loves, right? In the during vacation, we usually go to places, visit our friends, relatives, visit new places, learn about it, right? This year we have missed all the fun, but let us pray that we will come back or restore our previous uh, lifestyle very fast or immediately. We will pray for all the conditions to favor us, right? Yeah. So travel is something which we look forward to. There is an element of thrill or excitement in the travel. In this lesson, we are going to talk about a different type of travel where you are going to face a lot of hurdles and obstacles on your way. So, here in this lesson, Emperors on Ice, we are going to learn about the expedition of a group of explorers. What do you mean by expedition? It's an adventurous journey having an objective in mind. Okay, so they are having a particular aim and it is going to be an adventurous journey. That is what expedition is called. So here, emperors on ice. What do you mean by emperor? A supreme being, powerful or mightier than the other. So that is an emperor. Here, we are going to talk about emperor penguins. So you know that emperor penguins are found in the Antarctic. That means in the South Pole. That is where they are located or they are found. And why do we call them emperor penguins? Because they are superior or larger than all other kinds of penguin species. And here they are flightless animals, you know that, and they are haunted or they are located in the Iceland. Antarctic is a continent, right? So that is where they are located, and they live over there and in the frigid waters. So, what do you mean by frigid waters? It is intensely cold, extremely cold water, or extremely cold land. That is where they are found. Now, let us talk about the qualities of adventurers or explorers. So, we know that a person who should have some innate qualities or inborn qualities which will help them to be an adventurer. A person who is highly shy and timid cannot become an explorer because you should be able to tackle with a lot of problems or hurdles on your way. So you should have the right kind of mindset, you should have the right kind of physical strength to deal with all those things. So physical and mental fitness play a pivotal role in becoming adventurer. Now perseverance, endurance, that means the tolerance level to keep trying continuously till you achieve it. That is endurance level. Presence of mind. You should be courageous. You should have the determination, dedication, and surviving skills. So you should be knowing all the survival skills before you take up the expedition. So these are the qualities all the explorers will have by the time they take up the expedition. Either you will have it as an innate quality or you will have to develop it over the years. Right? Now, what is the reason for this expedition? See, these explorers have gone to the Antarctic to get the eggs of these emperor penguins. So the emperor penguins lay eggs in the midwinter. So you know that Antarctic is 6 months is having 6 months daylight, and 6 months it is completely dark. So in the midwinter, that means it is so dark that it is very difficult to locate penguins. Moreover, they get camouflaged. Camouflage means they get blended with the natural surroundings. They get camouflaged. And it is very difficult to go to the rookery. Rookery means the place where they set up their colony and they breed. So they lay eggs in winter, midwinter, and it is very tough to go and locate these birds and fetch their eggs. So this is a very challenging job that the explorers have taken up. And what is the reason for going through all these struggles to get the eggs of penguins? They believed that that will throw light to the research which they wanted to do about the predecessors of these penguins. They wanted to know whether they were primitive birds or the birds of their, of the first bird of their origin, or they wanted to have an experiment or research on the birds which would have lived before them. So they wanted to see that. That is the reason why the embryos, collecting the embryos were very important for them. What do you mean by embryos? That is nothing but the eggs. Now, let us get familiar with these names. It's very important. These are the explorers. Lieutenant Henry Robertson Birdie Bowers. So the pronunciation over here is lieutenant. Now Captain Scott and Atsley Cherry Garrett and Dr. Edward Wilson, he was a zoologist. So these were the people who had taken up this expedition. Now what is the route map? Where did they go? They wanted to go to the Ross Island in Antarctica, and they set up their base camp in Cape Evans. And the penguins rookery was set up, or they had the penguins rookery in Cape Crozier on Ross Island. So you can imagine that from Cape Evans to Cape Crozier, 120 kilometers away. So they had their base camp in Cape Evans, and they had to go to Cape Crozier, which was 120 kilometers away from Cape Evans. And the explorers spent 6 weeks to travel from Cape Evans to Cape Crozier. So you can assume the difficulty. Now, what are the important points? We have already learned that the names of learned about the names of explorers and the chief reason for taking up the journey, and what are the kind of difficulties that they have faced. There was a lot of bad weather, blisters, snowstorm, and packed ice, the darkness, and the temperature was minus degrees Celsius, sorry, minus 60 degree Fahrenheit. Lot of crevices on ice, that means the edges and ditches, and the frost bite which you get because of the what do you call when you get exposed to a lot of extreme climate, there will be frost bite. And the rookery was in inaccessible places, and violent blizzard, the snowstorm. These were the difficulties that the explorers had to go through. Now, what kind of mode of transportation? They had a ship called Terra Nova, and Mr. Scott was the captain, and he had reinforced from bow to stern. Bow to stern means from backside to front side. He had made it very strong with the oak tree, the timber of the oak tree. And because they did not want their ship to be wrecked, that is the reason they had made it really strong. Now, what are the weather conditions? The average temperature was minus 60 degree Fahrenheit, and it fell as low as minus 77 degree Fahrenheit. It was freezing cold, pitch black, completely black, and lot of gale, that means strong gush of wind. Ice was moving and splitting like glass. Antarctica is the coldest continent on Earth. The average temperature in the interior throughout the year was about minus 57 degrees Celsius, with a minimum temperature minus 90 degrees Celsius. Now you can assume all those things in the picture. It's like a complete vast area of snowland. It is extremely cold. Now, what were the struggles that they had to go through? The explorers had to travel 120 kilometers in the freezing, pitch black, gale battered weather to Cape Crozier. It was not easy to travel all these 120 kilometers. They had to drag their sledges with all kinds of supplies and equipments. So, three sledges they had to pull in this freezing climate, and the sleep bag was frozen when they took 45 minutes to get into the sleep bag every night. So in this picture you can see over here, uh, this is the sleep bag. You just have to get in and zip it, so at least you will get little warmth, otherwise you will not feel cold at least. So this is the sleep bag. So getting to the sleep bag was kind of very difficult for them because it was frozen and they had to somehow get into that. And the emperor penguins were very hard to locate and study. A violent blizzard lashed while they were returning. So these were the difficulties or part of the journey that they had gone through. Now, what happened? While they were successful in fetching those eggs, they got 5 eggs, and two of them were broken while they were returning, and they could safely get three. They could safely bring 3 eggs. But while they were coming to their base camp, what happened? There was a blizzard, and their tent blew away. The igloo roof also blew by, and the explorers remained in the sleep bag for 2 days till the blizzard calmed down. So you have to imagine the plight of these adventurers who had to remain in the sleep bag without food for 2 days till the blizzard was calmed down. Now, they were physically injured by the extreme cold winter. They could not feel their hands, and their faces were so pale, and it felt like their bones were breaking. So these were the things that they had to uh, encounter with. The travel claimed the life of two of them. So two adventurers, after while returning, they had died. Cherry Garrett presented the 3 eggs to the American Museum of Natural History. So finally, Cherry Garrett was the only person who survived, and who could give these eggs to American Museum of Natural History successfully. And later, he had written a book, a travel book, which is called The Worst Journey. Why did he call that a worst journey? Because the 120 kilometers of walk from their base camp to Cape Crozier was so tough that he wanted to write it down, and it has become a very famous travel book, The Worst Journey. Now, why did they give the name Emperors on Ice? Because as you can see here that there is an explorer or a scientist, and there are penguins as well. So as we know that why these penguins are called emperor penguin, because they are mightier than any other penguins, and this also refers to the adventurers who had braved the weather to reach over there and study about them, right? So that is the reason why this title is very apt title or very suitable title, because they are called emperors for having braved the extreme weather conditions to acquire the eggs. So this happened in the year 1911, and scenario has changed now. Now many are going to explore in the Antarctic. So every year there are a lot of advancements in the exploration field, and that is why we are able to know more about it. So if you are watching Nat Geo channel, which is a very important for children to watch and understand about it, because it has become a very mm, important thing to watch these channels, because very rare things are shown in that, because the explorers or adventurers are going there and picturizing everything, shooting everything for the commoner, right? So we may not be able to visit all these places, but at least we can take the effort to watch it and enjoy it and acquire information about it. Okay, children, I'm going to stop it right here, but we will be reading the lesson. And I request everyone to read the lesson thoroughly, because there are so many new words, and the topic itself is kind of hard. I won't say it's challenging, it is kind of hard, because there are the names of many explorers, many new words related to adventure, and you have to visualize a lot to understand. So I request everyone to read the lesson twice or thrice. You read it and let us have a discussion in the classroom. We will make it more clear to you. Okay, children? Thank you very much.